Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 324 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 52 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Daenerys 9.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you. Unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers, well then we are going to spoil things for you. But regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge a little pedantry and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes, they'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing all right.
I'm glad to hear it.
I think the stark words have become past tense.
Winter is very much in North Carolina.
Yes.
Across a lot of the United States, it's very cold. Our Australian listeners will probably be jealous, but it is very chilly.
Yes. Yes, Genevieve mentioned on the Sustainer call that it was some ridiculous temperature when they were driving from one city in Australia to another. I swear the Fahrenheit was like 115 degrees or something like that.
It gets pretty hot down there. Yeah.
So we, on the other hand, are about 100 degrees away from that.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite, but it feels that way.
It got really cold. But I like it. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of winter. I like to be cold. I can cope with 15 Fahrenheit a lot more than I can cope with 115 Fahrenheit.
Ethan and I were just having that debate earlier today because he's living in Pittsburgh and it was 0 today. So
that's 0 Fahrenheit,
yes.
Listeners, which is minus 20 Celsius.
Yes. And well, I said yes, but I'm assuming you're correct.
Actually, it's about minus 18 Celsius. I was rounding.
Okay.
I was working quickly here.
And he was just saying he was thinking of his cousin who lives in Florida and thinking just how his cousin never has to worry about whether he should wear long johns under his pants or anything like that. And I was like, well, yeah, I lived in Orlando for a while.
And you lived in Pittsburgh.
And I've lived in Pittsburgh. And I can tell you they're very similar in opposite ways.
Right.
In both instances, you hide from weather for a portion of the year.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but Dad, okay, so it's 98 degrees and 98% humidity. You don't have to dig your car out of 98 degrees. And I was like,
he has a point.
Touche. Yes. But you can put on more layers. You can only take off so many layers.
That's my clincher. You can only go so far the other way. So I have a slightly funny story from today. My day was just a catalogue of disasters. Okay, so
I'm laughing at your expense, and I don't even know what it is yet.
It's the day of my 2 dogs' annual teeth cleaning.
Oh, goodness.
But as you know, I now have 3 dogs.
Oh, right.
And so my 2 dogs, I didn't know that the third one was going to get its teeth cleaning. They were just going to evaluate the third dog. And the third dog is very overweight, so I wasn't going to be surprised if they said, we can't put this one under anaesthetic at that kind of weight.
Oh.
She would never come out kind of
Okay.
thing. So I said, well, I'll bring all 3. You evaluate her. Just keep her for the day. I'll come and get the other 2. I'll come and pick them all up together. They were like, okay, fine, bring them all. So they said nil by mouth after midnight because they're going under anaesthetic for the teeth cleaning. Which is, when I think about it, I'm like, dogs are stupid. Just don't bite the person who's cleaning your teeth, and then you wouldn't have to have the anaesthetic. It's not a major operation we're talking about here. You're just having your teeth cleaned.
Right.
You know? Just sit still.
Well, we've dealt with the same thing over here.
So, okay, my dogs are basket cases, so I'm forced to give them happy pills to take them to the vet.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
Now,
violate the by mouth?
well, that's what I asked, and they said if you can do it with absolute minimal cheese, then that's fine.
Okay.
So I did it with minimal cheese, but I did do it. But Twiggy is on a twice daily happy pill for her seizures.
Oh.
And she has a happy pill for her visit to the dentist, a different happy pill. Penny has a different happy pill for her visit to the dentist. So there's a total of 3 different narcotics being dished out this morning to the dogs. So I get Penny's and I get it in her mouth and she swallows it. And I'm like, all right, great. And this is like 6:30 in the morning. And so I'm trying to do all this without disturbing Carson. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Trying to get these dogs pilled and out and to the vet without disturbing Carson. So now all 3 of them descend because they smell cheese. And so they're like, all right, here we go. So I throw them all out in the backyard to go pee, and they go pee. While they're peeing, I get Twiggy's 2 pills and I put like a scintilla of cheese on each one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I leave it on the coffee table, and that's where my mistake was.
Oh, no.
Because I let all 3 dogs in, and I close the door, and the pills are gone, and Penny is running around the room with a big smile on her face, having now taken all 3 of these narcotics.
No. Oh, goodness.
Now, you'll remember from previous stories that when she takes Twiggy's daily narcotic, she's an absolute space cadet. I mean, she like lounges on the couch like a stoner, like for the whole day. But now she's coupled it with 2 other happy pills. I'm like, oh
no.
So I give Twiggy I go and get more pills for Twiggy and give her pills so she's ready for this. And then I get them all in the car and I drive over there and I explain what has happened. Because the funny thing is, I'd said on the phone to the doctors, we were very worried about Penny last time she had her teeth cleaned because it took her fully 48 hours to come out of the coma that she was in. She was a mess afterwards.
Penny was too. So, our Penny was too last time.
Yeah, I felt like they gave her too much. So, well, now I've already given her too much. I'm like, seriously, you could clean this dog's teeth without. I mean, she's do it, absolutely out of her gourd here. So I go to work. Now, the thing is, 2 other facets here. One is there's a lot of leashes and harnesses involved in getting these 3 dogs to the vet.
I'm sure.
But I go straight to work from the vet because I ain't picking these dogs up until like 6 o'clock when they come out of their coma.
Uh-huh.
All right. Also, Carson's given me this specific credit card that I'm to use for this, which has got like it specially works with vets. I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay.
I get a call at 10 a.m. saying, I'm not operating on any of these 3.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, first of all, I am not putting any more drugs into that one, the one that's floating on the ceiling over there.
Dancing with Lionel Richie on the ceiling.
Twiggy's got a heart murmur. I ain't doing that one. And she said, and Chunky McChunk, not a chance, you know. She said, come and pick them up. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, it's the middle of the day. And so the thing is, I feel terrible because I know that they're really miserable at the vet. So I feel like, oh. So I called Carson. I said, oh, can you pick them up? She said, well, have you got that credit card and have you got the leashes? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, then who's picking them up?
Yeah, well.
So I go and pick them up. And so I bring all these dogs home with, like, each one has got, like, you know, a party favor bag that you might get when you leave a party? Yeah. Each one has got a customized party favor bag with what they get. And I'm out, despite the fact nothing happened, $500.
Oh my goodness. 500 for nothing. Literally like, nothing.
And I got to do it all again in 2 weeks. I'm like, I got to... Stupid dogs.
Oh, goodness. Hey, but you got those party favor bags, so...
Yeah.
It's all worth it in the end.
The one for Penny is just like leaflets about the dangers of taking drugs. She's like, I don't care.
And the one for the 3rd dog has some Weight Watchers flyers in there.
The vet was all ready to lay into me about the weight of the dog. But I was like, look, I've had that dog for like 6 weeks. And she weighed in at 35 pounds at the vet. And when we got her, she was 40 pounds.
Oh, okay.
The vet was like, okay,
Hey,
keep doing what you're doing then.
trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's get down to business. How did we leave Daenerys Targaryen? Well, as we saw of Dany, she was reluctantly attending a feast for her enemies, thrown by her new husband, Hizdar Zolorak. It was an evening of pride-swallowing and tongue-biting. Particularly odious was having to chat with Brown Ben Plum, who, despite being on her payroll, was representing the other side.
Uh-huh.
She tried to get Barristan Selmy to come up with a plan to lure the sellsword companies back to her side. Hulk smash was about as subtle as he got. And lastly, she was scaring the living bejesus out of Quentyn Martell by introducing him to 2/3 of her, as you know, I do love a collective noun, thunder of dragons.
Is that the term for a group of dragons?
I looked it up. It was the first hit.
I like
People
it.
have different opinions. It's not established law, but I'm going to promote it. I think thunder of dragons is nice.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Right. Why don't we get the summary of this one?
Okay. Well, Dany bathes in her pool atop her pyramid. Despite the calm scene, her mind is on the fights and fighters she'll be witnessing later today in the fighting pit. When she is dressed, Missandei announces that Quentyn Martell requests a word with her. Dany declines. Another day. Instead, Dany makes for the base of the pyramid.
At ground level, Dany finds Barristan Selmy along with many brazen beasts waiting by her palanquin. Barristan wishes Dany would use her Unsullied as guards for the trip to Daznak's pit. The brazen beasts are filled with untried freedmen and Meereenese of dubious loyalty. Daenerys says, why should the Meereenese trust them if I do not?
Good point. Barristan updates Dany that he's released the woman Meris as Dany wanted. The woman told Barristan that the plan was always for the Windblown to switch to Dany's side. However, the Dornishman exposed the lie that the group of Westerosi Windblown had defected to Dany of their own accord before Meris could approach Dany with the Tattered Prince's true proposal of joining Dany's side. Barristan admits he puts little trust in the woman's word. Dany says to pay the Tattered Prince's price for allegiance. Barristan explains that the price is Pentos.
Daenerys scoffs. How can I give him Pentos? It's a world away and it belongs to the Pentosi. No, that price is unreasonable. Barristan agrees with her assessment. When she joins her husband, Hizdar comments on the auspicious day. Daenerys points out that it is less so for those who will die today. At Hizdar's command, the procession moves forth from the pyramid. The crowd reacts with cheers when they emerge, and Daenerys cannot help but notice the irony. They cheer for me now in the same plaza where I impaled 163 of their great masters. You think some of the cheerers might be freed slaves who actually were fine with that, too.
Well, yes. Yeah, very, very likely. The royal procession comes to an abrupt halt. One of the men carrying a palanquin in front of them has collapsed. With the congestion building around them, Barristan fears a trap by the Sons of the Harpy. But Hizdar says they have no reason to harm Dany now that she's married to him. Dany commands that the fallen man be given aid. She realizes that although she freed the men who carry the palanquins, she didn't make them any lighter. Hizdar points out that the man is now paid, and instead of being given the whip, he's being given water. It's a step in their run to make a new Meereen.
Daenerys cannot deny his words, but she wonders where she's running to. Regardless, the procession ends at the great pit of Daznak. Hizdar leads her to their royal box, mere feet from where the fighting will take place. The box is stocked with food and drink. Strong Belwas is particularly excited over a bowl of honeyed spiced locusts. Hizdar urges Dany to try some for herself. They're very tasty. Daenerys declines. She'll stick to figs and dates.
Hizdar speaks to the packed crowd. By the grace of their queen, he gives them their mortal art. He urges them to show their love to their queen. 30,000 strong roar their thanks. Dany notices many of the city's elite and honored guests, the Graces, the Great Masters, and the Yunkish envoy with their sellsword captains. Misa, they shout, mother in Giscari. She wants to shout back that she is not their mother. She is the mother to their slaves.
The fighting begins. Match after match is brutal and bloody. Daenerys outlawed children fighting, but relented in allowing women to fight. She also conceded to allowing follies, where poor fighters such as the elderly or infirm battle. The first of these features two dwarves, one riding a pig, the other a dog. It does not go unnoticed that the combatants are dressed as a Baratheon and a Lannister. Daenerys finds it sweet and silly, but is confused by its inclusion. Hizdar explains that momentarily lions will be loosed.
Dany is aghast. The dwarves have wooden swords. They can't defend themselves. She forbids the lions being set upon them. A flash of anger spreads across Hizdar's face before relenting and calling it off. The next battle turns gruesome when a boar tears Barsena Blackhair's leg open and begins to eat her. Belwas' stomach turns at the sound of her screams. Dany asks Barristan to see her safely back to her pyramid. Belwas continues to complain about stomach pains. As Hizdar protests Dany leaving, a shadow passes over his face. The crowd goes silent, staring at the sky.
The dragon flaps his black wings before engulfing the boar in black flame. Drogon lands and devours boar and Barsena alike. Chaos reigns as some run for their lives while others stare in amazement. One man manages to get onto Drogon's back and plunge a spear into the base of his neck. The dragon shakes him off before ripping the man's arm away. Hizdar shouts to kill the dragon, but Daenerys leaps from her box onto the sand, running toward her child.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes. Drogon is making quick work of the men brave enough to attack him. Dany calls his name and he turns. "No!" she screams, and he snaps at her. The pair go eye to eye, and Dany knows if she flinches he'll devour her. Dany can hear Barristan trying to draw the dragon's attention away from her. Drogon roars again in her face. Her hand brushes a whip handle and she snaps the whip at him, screaming, "No!" Over and over she whips him, shouting, "No!" She commands that he get down.
Drogon gives one more tremendous roar before relenting and laying on his belly. Quickly, Daenerys is on his back, pulling the spear from him, black blood smoking as it pours out of the wound. With that, Drogon flaps his wings and the ground falls away. Daenerys momentarily closes her eyes. When she opens them again, she sees the scene beneath her as they rise. Yes, now, do it. Take me, fly, she thinks.
You know, last week, at the end of every episode, you tell us what the next week's POV is going to be. And I had planned when you did that last week to say, you're going to want to tune in next week because we get an appearance of an old friend, which could have meant maybe Jorah was going to make a reappearance or Tyrion was going to make a reappearance.
Tyrion did.
He did, that's right. But no, this was bigger, scarier than either of those two. We get Drogon back, which was pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. It is kind of like such a relief after all these Dany chapters where it just feels like she's like in a vice being turned slowly and sort of, you have to wonder how much of a relief and a release it was for George Martin himself, and us, just to sort of like finally we've got, we've dislodged from this logjam of like, where the heck is she going to go?
Right.
This whole book had basically been her being frustrated and having to retrench and temper her dreams, and to come to terms with defeat, basically, which until this point she hadn't faced at all. She'd had a miserable childhood, but since marrying Khal Drogo, she'd been on sort of like a precipitous upward arc, and this book was just all downhill from there, really.
Yes.
But again, I think she's broken the chains. She cut the Gordian knot of where she was. Potentially. I mean, we don't... The thing is, that's how the chapter ends.
Yeah.
We don't know what this means. I mean, she may fly back to the pyramid and Drogon may fly off again and she's back to square one, but...
Yes, we're literally unsure where she's headed at this point.
Right, yeah.
But regardless, it's unlikely for the repetition to continue because she's riding Drogon, which
Right.
in its own right moves the story forward.
Exactly. And it's you got to hand it to George Martin. He is not afraid to take a big swing in his stories.
He's not.
You know, I was thinking about this. This is actually foretold. You know, when you know that her ancestors rode dragons and then she raises new dragons, we knew this was coming.
Right.
You know, to a certain extent. Ned getting shortened, the Red Wedding, Jaime losing his hand, those weren't, but they were similar magnitude of big swings to a story where you believe one thing is going to happen for a long time and, oh my God, he upsets the apple cart.
I mean, right off the bat, Bran being pushed out a window.
Right.
Like, what?
You didn't have time to think that shouldn't happen before it happened. You know?
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And it's such a big inflection point because, you know, I mean, everything can change for Daenerys now, you know?
Yes.
But if you're creating this story, it's a house of cards, you know, and you know that you've just slammed a door nearby and that whole structure is wobbling right this second, you know. It must be scary as a writer to think, well, here we go, let's do this. See how it works out.
Yeah, let's see where this leads. Yeah, maybe that's why we've had no Winds of Winter for more than a decade. I don't even bother putting the year on because as the years go on, this gets older.
Just decades at this point. Yeah.
You know, he's already created such a quagmire for her that's really tough to extract her from. So how do you move the story forward that's mired in this mess? Well, you could fly out is one way to do it.
That was the thing. He always had this trump card waiting in his pocket. It also goes to the challenge of I read, I think I've mentioned this before, that he had an intention at some point to have a time gap in the books to let the Stark children grow up and the dragons, and then he had to abandon it for whatever reasons. And that's so difficult now to square all this. The timelines are so... Everything has to be so tight. These dragons have to grow. So I saw some sort of like artwork of this scene, and Drogon is still quite small. He's, you know, and he is vulnerable.
Yeah. I
mean, that just rando stuck a spear in the back of his neck. It could have killed him.
Try doing that to Balerion the Black Dread. Let's see how that works.
Exactly. You'll think the guy who had his arm ripped off was lucky.
No, that's part of the quagmire problem here is she's created a situation where she can't really just abandon these people. And she can't sail for Westeros yet because the dragons are in no way ready to travel across the known world.
Right.
She has no means of getting them to Westeros because she can't control them enough. So
she can mess with her enemies.
Yeah.
That is for sure. You know what, Hizdar? I never wanted to marry you. Dracarys. So yeah, let's we jumped to the end, but let's
back it up
sort of
a little
back,
bit.
Yeah, back up to the beginning. So right at the start, after she's bathed and she's heading down, she gets a request to speak to Quentyn again. I wonder what he was after. I mean,
me too.
She was cryptic with him, and it wasn't quite clear what she was telling him. She was telling him to go home. She literally said that, but she also said the dragon has 3 heads. Don't give up all hope, kind of thing. So maybe he was acting on that part of it. I'm not going home. I'd vote for me being head number 3.
Yeah, it's very curious what he was coming to say, and there's much debate regarding whether or not she has been disrespectful to Quentyn and his offer of marriage thus far. And yes, I mean you summed it up well. She's definitely sending mixed signals.
Yeah,
leave. And also, my marriage doesn't need to be the end of your hope.
Yeah.
We know that physical attraction is important to her, but I think it's more than that. It is a lot more than that, quite honestly. There was already a plan in place, and he showed up one day before the wedding, and she feels responsible for the freed slaves, so she's not going to just leave them, and that's admirable. She could easily have sailed away on many occasions here.
Yeah.
So he is a tough nut for her to crack, for her to figure out what exactly to do, which is probably where the mixed messaging is coming from.
Yeah. I don't think she's been disrespectful. I mean, I'll defend her in that. I mean, to a certain extent, if you don't say, "Oh yes, I'll abide by this contract that I had no part in,"
and not
then you're
named
being
in.
somewhat disrespectful. Yeah, but she was engaged. You can say, look, it is too late. I'm engaged and I'm going to get married. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it's intentionally disrespectful. I think she's just honoring her own deals that she's made. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's got.
I'll give her a pass.
I do too. And part of it is that she's gotten little useful guidance regarding Quentyn. Quaithe has told her not to trust him.
The Sun's son. Yeah,
the Sun's
exactly.
son, exactly. Barristan has said to trust him and to sail for Westeros on multiple occasions. But like we mentioned, the dragons are in no state to travel, so it's not really an option. She can't leave the dragons behind. So, so possibly the mixed messaging of leave and my marriage is not the end of your hope is, it's poorly worded, maybe. Yeah, maybe what she's trying to say is, it's not safe here, but I will sail eventually for Westeros.
Yeah.
So either wait for me in Volantis or sail back to Westeros and begin to prepare for my arrival. Maybe if she had said it that clearly, then, be less mixed messaging.
Perhaps that's what he was coming to say. So, as I understand it, what you're saying is...
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
Right. When you said the seed is strong... I mean... So it does feel like there's some wiggle room with the sellswords. I mean, we already knew that the Windblown were actually sort of like, sending a party there to make overtures to Dany. But it sounds like all of the sellsword companies are biddable. Well, they're sellsword companies. Of course they're biddable. But it feels like there's not a lot of loyalty to the, don't tell me, the Yonkaiish side amongst the sellswords.
Right.
So the Windblown are pricing themselves out of the market. I mean, Pentos makes no sense at all.
It really doesn't.
but the thing about it is what does he literally mean by it? I mean, does he just mean,
that's a good question,
use your influence to make me the ruler of Pentos?
Well, see, that's the thing, is the Tattered Prince, who is the commander of the Windblown, he was Pentosi by birth, and he was chosen as the prince of Pentos, but he fled because being named Prince of Pentos is a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, you live a pretty cushy life until the populace believe that the gods are angry if there's some sort of war they lose or some sort of famine or something like that, in which case they cut the throat of the prince to appease the gods. So, yeah, it sounds like he wants to be the ruler of Pentos without the fear of the throat slashing situation.
So perhaps what he's getting at is, take me back with you to Pentos, reveal my true identity, reinstate me as the prince, and then leave one of those dragons to keep me safe.
Right. If you want to slice my throat, you got to get through Viserion here.
I did wonder, of course, is what was Meris's negotiation with Barristan Selmy like? I mean, I wonder if she actually just said like some wine from Pentos, and he negotiated her up to all of Pentos because he's hopeless at this kind of thing. So you and I had a bit of a sidebar earlier, trying to make sure we got all the layers of what exactly the games the Windblown is playing here. And we've come up with 3 levels. Right.
We've got the top level, which is the Dornish level, which is Quentyn, Arch, and Drink all pretending to just be Westerosi sellswords.
Right. Well, Well, okay, but my first level was all of those Westerosi windblown were pretending to be defectors.
Yes.
Wait, no, that's the second level.
That's the second layer. But that is the second layer. The
Oh,
Tattered Prince
right.
gathered them together and said, you all are going to defect to Daenerys because you're gonna play the whole, we're all Westerosi thing here. And so if it looks like the tide of the battle is swaying toward Meereen, then we're all going to defect to Meereen.
You're right.
So that was the second layer. Now Meris is telling Barristan that there was actually a third layer, and that is that the Tattered Prince had always planned to bring the Windblown to Dany's side. It was just that Quentin blew the cover off of the second level of the story before she could meet with Dany.
Which then made her pitch to say, hey, I'm just an envoy from the Windblown to make you an offer. Sound hollow, because basically you've been arrested at this point.
Yes. We always planned on doing it, I swear.
Right, yeah.
But so it seems convenient, yes. But I went back and read that part of the chapter where the Tattered Prince gathered all the Westerosi together. And he only said to them all that the ruse is that you all are defecting from the Windblown. It was another guy named Denzo Dahan that said the Tattered Prince was wise for keeping all roads open, meaning playing both sides. Right. The Tattered Prince didn't correct him. All he said was, Meris commands and she knows my mind on this matter.
Okay, yeah.
So it's unlikely, but not specifically disputable from previous actions that she is making this up as she goes along here.
Well, good point. Yeah. But I mean, of course, given that we know his history, it does tie in quite well,
Yes.
So if it is her thinking on her feet, she's doing a good job of it.
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes. Yeah, asking for the city, and if we're talking realistically, how does she even make good on that agreement if she's like, done, I'll give you Pentos? No idea how I'll do it, but...
hey, you're dealing with sellswords. You know they're not playing their side of the bargain straight. Why should you be held to this?
That's true, yeah.
But the thing is, that's the thing. If Meris truly knew his mind, she probably did tell Barristan, but he's sort of like failing to parse it. What we just discussed, which is like him saying, hey, I am actually the rightful Prince of Pentos. Take me back there and reinstate me.
Yeah.
Her Khalasar and her dragons could really make that happen for him.
I guess so. The dragons, yeah. It would be tough that's an entire city, and probably war would break out, and the other free cities would get involved, and it would be a huge mess, but you could try.
Well, it's that or a chest of gold, It's just, they've all got gold. They don't need it. He wants what he wants. So Dany thinks it's odd that they cheer her in the same plaza where they impaled 163 great masters. I am remembering that she did that very pointedly because the great masters of Meereen executed 163 child slaves to point the way to Meereen for her.
Yes, from Yunkai to Meereen, every milepost had a child slave nailed to it, and she did the same to them when she took the city.
You know what? Sometimes I'm kind of anti-Yunkai, but though I think back on it and I'm like, I'm pretty anti-Meereen as well.
Pre-Dany, for sure.
Pre-Dany, yeah. And you know what? She chopped the heads off these families, or rather crucified them, whatever it was, but they're still the same. Nothing's really changed. These great masters seem to be exactly what they were, minus the slaves. They're just they're using the wealth that they acquired through slavery to now pay the slaves a marginal wage.
Right. And so the next thing that happens is that a man carrying a palanquin in front of Daenerys and Hizdar's palanquin falls, and the palanquin falls over, and it stops the progress. And Barristan is right to be alarmed. It definitely feels like a trap.
Oh yeah. If you read George Martin, you would think it was a trap for sure.
Right.
I was looking all around. I was like, oh my God, here we go.
And but Hizdar is awfully confident that it's not a trap set by the Sons of the Harpy.
He's awfully confident that the Sons of the Harpy are now curtailed.
Yes, he says they've been tamed. Why would they seek to harm my queen when she's taken me for king consort?
If I just paid a bunch of sellswords a really very high sum of money, I would not be as confident as Hizdar is over their loyalty.
Right. Yeah. And so that the reason that how this ties into our conversation from a minute ago is because the fact that Meereen is still a free city can't sit well with most of those great masters, and you have to wonder what promises Hizdar made to them that he is so confident that the Sons of the Harpy have stopped the killing, because he is telling Dany, I'm going to do all the things that you were going to do. We'll just do them together.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, why would the Sons of the Harpy have stopped killing?
Yeah. I will say I tried to sort of put myself in the shoes of the slippers, if you will, of the great master whose palanquin was dropped by this guy. And you know that 6 months ago he would have seen that guy whipped to death,
right,
for dropping him. But now he's agreeing to the fact that this is a servant being paid and he's in trouble and you're going to give him. There are financially smart aspects to that. You know, you won't actually kill a slave here. This guy will be able to work for you again in the future once he's recovered from what he's doing.
Right.
But I can't help thinking that the kind of person who would have slaves and whip them for their laziness would think when a paid servant sits down because it's too hot that person is just being lazy. And if he doesn't whip him, they're all going to start doing that, and I'm going to have to walk with my slippers.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. I wonder,
that's hard to change those minds. You know what I mean? It's hard to get that mindset to be different.
In one generation, you know?
Exactly.
You would think it would take multiple generations. I had a similar thought that if this had happened and Daenerys wasn't present, would it have transpired the way that it had? Or did it play out the way it was because the person who was in that palanquin knew that the Queen Daenerys was right behind him? So,
yeah. So Dany thinks back on the 3 treasons from the prophecy. She hopes and believes that they might now be fulfilled. The 3 were one for blood, one for gold, one for love, and she's thinking that they might be Mirri Maz Duur for blood, Jorah for gold. Yeah, I can see why that one, although, you know, it's not really Jorah's motivation, but the treacherous part of what he did felt like it was for gold.
Right. Yeah.
And then one for love, Brown Ben Plum. Honestly, I'd switch those 2 around. You know, if she'd said them the other way round, if she'd said Brown Ben Plum, then Jorah, but it's just the sequence that they happened.
Yeah.
She's trying to pass it on as that.
She didn't, she said they were going, in this chapter, she thought to herself, I was told there'd be 3 treasons. One was Mirri Maz Duur, second was Jorah, the third was Brown Ben Plum. Am I done with treasons now? But she didn't think through the actual saying of once for blood, once for gold, once for love. And also, was it meant for... The beginning of it is, there are 3 treasons you will know, which makes it seem like they're talking about future tense. And Mirri Maz Duur came before Karth. So does she get ruled out because she was before Karth? I think not. I think they were referring to Mirri Maz Dor as one of the three treasons. But it does stand to question, because Mirri Maz Dor was before they gave her this prophecy, was she ruled out?
Yes, and of course, because we kind of know where the story might go down the line if we've watched the TV show, the fact that these maybe are happening, let's say Jorah was for love and Brown Ben Plum was for gold, and we rule out Mirri Maz Dor because it already happened, maybe the blood one is still to come. Maybe they were coming out in the opposite order of what they were going to actually happen.
Yeah, that could be. They didn't say first for blood, second for gold, third for love. It could come in any order.
And the blood one could be, she may have real or purported blood relatives out there.
True. Yeah, I mean, we know that young Griff is theoretically her nephew.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that could be a treason coming. I do think Mirri Maz Dor fits, but that's the thing, is she thought, 3 treasons, then I'm done. But she didn't think through the actual wording. So, but there's actually another possible answer to one of the Undying's prophecies at the same time that she got these treasons one, and it was the 3 mounts that you must ride, 1 to bed, 1 to dread, 1 to love. If we take bed, dread, love, possibly bed is Hizdar, dread, Drogon, and love, Drogo. But again, then we get the future thing, because Drogo was before Karth.
So that.
If we take that out, those fit. But
so again, another interesting. That could still happen, of course.
Yes. Now there's another option.
Certainly, I would say today is the dread. That was the dread, because she was not. Yeah. She was not thinking, "Oh, this will be fun."
Yes. You could also. That's why I said it first, because I think that one makes a lot of sense. But could you also do it as bed Dario, dread Hizdar, love Drogo? Because she dreaded having to make the sacrifices she had to make by marrying Hizdar, possibly. And she didn't want to be in bed with, well, no, I guess it's mount, not in bed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
yeah.
There's an interpretation of that word which makes you think of that.
So I definitely think mount is the dread is Drogon, though, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, me too. So the crowd call her mother, or Misa in Old Giscari. That's nice, but she can't really enjoy it because all she hears is their bloodlust, not their love for her. That's what she thinks they're celebrating.
And she gets bothered by the fact that the Great Masters are cheering along, saying it as well, and she thinks, nope, you don't get to say that. I'm not your mother.
My question about that is just how big is Meereen? I mean, there were 30,000 people in that fighting pit. Are they all Great Masters? It feels like...
I think the upper bowl was the commoners. And then as you get lower and lower, the more elite.
So, look, the commoners were there to enjoy it as well, you know?
Yeah.
She's being too sensitive about it. I know she didn't want this to happen, but she can't lay all of the ills of the world on this one event.
No, that's very true.
The fights are the fights. I mean, there's not much to say that they are brutal and horrible. But it's exciting when Tyrion and Penny make an appearance. We're pretty confident that's who that was.
It sure fits.
Also, would have been their last, but for Daenerys' intervention, which, again, Hizdar is so... He's always pushing her buttons. It's like, you know that she's not going to enjoy this day. And you just can't help yourself but try and make it as bad as possible for her.
Right.
Don't leave before the end. You've got to watch all this. Let's sit right here at the front and get covered in blood when they kill each other. And despite what I told you, we're going to kill these innocents right in front of you.
Yeah, this was, if he was thinking about it clearly, this was not the way to go to make her feel okay with these fighting pits being reopened.
Right, but the thing is, I think Hizdar's a thinker. I think he is thinking,
yeah,
and he doesn't care. Or, if anything, he wants to antagonize her.
That's possible, yeah. So, she had several items that she wanted to stick to. No children were allowed to fight in the fighting pits. Everyone that was fighting needed to be willingly agree that they were going to fight. But she relented on the follies, which are non-traditional combatants like the elderly, the infirmed, and in this case, dwarves. And
it makes sense if they're not getting hurt.
Yes, and so I think that's why she was confused, because they do their act as usual, and she was like, this is cute and sweet, but how does this fit with the rest of all the blood? She never says that. She just says, this is cute and sweet, but... And
yeah.
I think that's where she was going. How does this fit with the rest?
I've never been to not trials by combat, but to the death fights. But I would imagine that you would want a palate cleanser of something a little bit funny in between some of this. It might get a little bit relentless, sort of like...
Yeah.
So,
I guess so.
To me, it actually made some sense, but...
Well, now we possibly see why Yezin, the owner of Penny and Tyrion and Jorah, was upset when Yurkaz Zo Yunzak,
because
the Supreme
he didn't think
Commander,
they were coming home.
Yes, when they were speaking at that party, and he looked upset, and that was right before Nurse announced that they would be doing this performance. And yeah, I think Yurkaz must have told Yezin, this is what I want to play out. And Yezin seems to appreciate this troop and didn't want to see them killed.
You know what actually would have been better for them if they thought about it and they're like, well, let's dress this one up as a Baratheon, this one up as a Lannister, and let's dress the lion up as a dragon. She'd actually like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Strong Belwas was poisoned? I mean, he's a big lad. You can imagine him stomaching a lot, even spicy locusts, but these do seem to have caused him considerable digestive distress. And Hizdar did suggest that Dany try them. He didn't push on it when she said no, but
he had the same thought, right? He didn't push on it, but he did say you should try some. They're really tasty.
Yeah.
So, it certainly seems like he was poisoned. I don't know. Maybe that's the result of eating a whole bowl of locusts. I hope to not find out personally.
And that's the thing. If they were poisoned and he was able to eat the whole bowl, Dany's going to eat 2 or 3 of them, right? If he's able to eat the whole bowl of 50 or 60 locusts, and his poisoning wasn't like instant death, then it's not enough poison to kill Daenerys. She's not that little. She's not that frail.
Yeah, that makes some sense. Yeah, I could see that. But the question is, if he was poisoned, who was the poisoner? Was it the Sons of the Harpy? Hizdar is confident that they've been tamed. Was it Hizdar? He, like you said, he urged Dany to try them. He didn't have any himself.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem likely that the Yunkai would have done it. They have already defeated her. Why kill her now? To re-enslave Meereen, I guess, would be one possibility. But
I mean, to me, all fingers so far point to Hizdar, but go on, you've got one more.
Well, what if it actually wasn't meant for Dany? What if it was meant for Hizdar? There's one character that we know who is here that has family members known for poison usage. And that would be Quentin Martell. His uncle Oberyn and his cousin Tyene are both very well known for their
He was
poisons.
going to tell her not to eat the locusts.
Oh, I hadn't even made that connection. Maybe that he was gonna say whatever you. I hear it's terrible for your diet.
Yeah,
Whatever you do, don't eat the locusts.
A moment on your lips, a lifetime on your hips. Don't even try it.
Stay away from those. Yeah, so maybe it was a desperate Quentin trying to salvage the plan by getting Hizdar out of the way.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, well, and I'm guessing that Belwas doesn't love it at this point.
No, probably not.
We didn't in the summary fully explain that he collapsed to his knees vomiting. We got caught up in the description of the dragon attack.
And one, actually, I'll save it for pedantry, actually. I've got another comment around that as well.
Okay.
What do you think drew Drogon to the fighting pits? Was it the noise and the smells? I mean, it felt like he specifically came when the boar was eating the entrails of
Barsena Blackhair.
Yeah.
Yes, I do think it was that.
That's your guess. So then, just sort of follow my thought process here. Is Daenerys actually extremely lucky that she waited as long as she did to reopen the fighting pits? Because any sooner, and Drogon would have been quite a bit smaller and much more vulnerable to getting killed. He almost got himself killed anyway.
That makes a lot of sense. I had not thought about that, but
her resistance to reopening the fighting pits has saved Drogon's life, perhaps.
Yeah, he would have been. Had it been a month or two, or Exactly. Yeah. I definitely could see that being an issue.
Yeah. So we really don't know where this is going now because she's flown away. I mean, the next Daenerys chapter might be like, wasn't that fun, honey? You know. But when she does see Hizdar again, I think she's definitely going to remember him screaming at everyone who'll listen to kill the dragon.
His reaction was very hard to figure out what was going on because Dany noticed when the dragon first landed and the chaos was just starting, she saw fear, lust, and rapture on his face. And yes, he shouted, "Kill the dragon." And yes, that would not sit well with Daenerys. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if possibly he was saying it so that he didn't want everybody to flee, so he could continue to watch this unfold in front of him, watch the dragon destroy all these men that were trying to kill him.
Well, you're not painting a very nice picture of Hizdar, but
well, they're there, enjoying the mortal art, and this is about as a bigger production as you're going to get in those.
Well, that is true, yes. So he didn't really mean kill him. He meant rush out there and fight him and see how that goes.
Yes, rush out there and keep this fight going. I wasn't able to loose the lions on the dwarves, so we're going to make up for it by watching you all get slaughtered by this dragon.
But actually, whatever you do, don't hurt it, because I also lust after that thing.
And Dany rushes out there, and Drogon nearly bites her head off.
Yeah.
And he is roaring and baring his teeth right in her face. And I wondered, it was kind of unclear if he was just caught up in the bloodlust and the fight, or was he too wild to treat her any differently? He did stop short, which he didn't do with anybody else. So he definitely did ultimately treat her differently. And she stood her ground fearlessly in command, and ultimately Drogon bent to her will, because even dragons bend to the will of their mamas when push comes to shove. But yeah, he almost didn't. And Dany thought, if I even show
blink,
he's gonna torch me and eat me.
So Drogon was injured, as we mentioned. It sounded pretty bad. Is he going to be okay? Will it actually help Daenerys to tame him that he's a little bit hurt? Might she sort of salve his wounds and sort of like forge her bond with him because of his wound? But
that
what
makes some
sense.
Does
taming actually mean in this case? I mean, like, she's now ridden him. What's next? A saddle?
Maybe. Now you're going to find out in background what's next.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, so she takes the whip and shouts at him and whips at him to get him to bend to her will. Might she have learned a trick that she can use to control her dragons, possibly taking it? We don't know where she's going, like we started off discussing, but if she does make it back to her pyramid, could she take this level of control and exert it to Viserion and Rhaegal in the same way, rather than have them chained up and staying away from them, fearlessly face them, make them bend to her will, and then she can exert control.
I wonder if she might be able to do it from Drogon's back. Just say, "Hey, hi guys."
Oh,
and they might be like,
look,
"Oh God."
He's the big one, too.
Exactly. Let me just whip this a few times. All right, we're done with this now? Yeah. You're under my control?
You're going to listen? But she flew off on Drogon's back, so the choice has been made.
Right, because you're not supposed to ride two dragons, right?
Yeah, you can't ride other dragons unless Drogon were to die. And he's the biggest and strongest and likely the one she would have chosen anyway.
Yeah.
So...
All right, well, let's move on to some spoilers. Remember, the spoilers are available to the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainers, and you can try any of the tiers for a week for free, so you can listen to the spoilers, see if you like them. Well, thanks. Those are good spoilers. How about some background?
Okay, well, so Dany took flight on Drogon's back, which is the first time such an event has happened in about 150 years. So since it's been a bit, let's familiarize ourselves with some historical concepts about the art of riding a dragon. And let's begin at the beginning, shall we?
Let's say re-familiarize ourselves.
Yes. Right.
We all know this, obviously.
Just in case you've been busy and you've forgotten some of these things. Well, so in the beginning, it's said that back in the pre-Doom days, that Valyrians used to control their dragons through binding spells and the use of dragon horns. And we know that Euron Greyjoy says he's found one of such horn. Post-Doom, the Targaryens, being the last remaining dragon riders, had neither option, so they relied on commands and whips to exert control. So it would seem that Dany stumbled upon the exact method needed to control the situation in the fighting pit. The whip is used exactly opposite of how one might use it on a horse. Apparently, because I don't know how you use a whip on a horse, you whip a horse on the side you want it to turn away from, whereas with a dragon, you whip the side you want it to turn toward, the reason being that a dragon's first instinct is to attack, not avoid.
Interesting.
Yeah. So dragon riders, you mentioned about saddles. So dragon riders usually use a saddle strapped to the back of their dragon with chains, and those chains are then attached to the rider's belt for additional safety.
Good to know.
Yeah, if you're ever on a dragon.
Should it come to pass. Comparison with the television show, it's adapted somewhat and pushed a bit later in the story. She'd already met with Tyrion, for example. She'd had a I don't want to say too much more because this might be where the book goes too. But the scene in the fighting pit turns into an assassination attempt when the Sons of the Harpy try to kill her.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd suddenly, some of the crowd mask themselves as Sons of the Harpy and they get up and they start to attack her. She's defended by a handful of loyalists whilst the rest of the crowd flee in panic. They're wildly outnumbered and death seems certain. She squeezes hands with Missandei until Big D rides to the rescue.
Uh-huh.
So he's not attracted by the smell of roasted boar meat. Oh no, it wasn't roasted boar meat. It was Barsena?
Yeah, Barsena Blackhair's entrails.
It wasn't Barsena's entrails that attracted him, but the thought that his mother might get killed. So that's why Drogon arrived.
Much more loyal, honorable reason to make an appearance. Yeah,
apparently, I would say so. A significant character dies in that scene, but that character is not dead yet in our story, so I will avoid spoilers.
Okay, good stuff.
Now, pedantry says that I don't have anything this week, but I've been thinking a little bit about some pedantry. You're going to have to help me because I don't remember who this was. Strong Belwas was not the only person throwing up. somebody else either screamed or threw up or gagged at the sight of Drogon eating someone or ripping the guy's arm off or something that Drogon did. Maybe baking the boar.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. I think it was Resnack, maybe, who was responding to the fact that Drogon was eating both the boar and Barsena without discrimination.
Right. Okay. That's it. Thank you. It's Resnack. The boar was eating Barsena. And he was popping popcorn in his mouth watching it. But when the dragon eats...
Right. Well, that's a step too far.
Oh my God, the humanity. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah. Someone stop it, please. It's too much.
She's already had her entrails eaten by a boar. Where she's past caring.
Yeah. So, I get it. Yeah.
I wonder. So was it the mixing of the two? Is that the problem? Like, is it like
maybe? Yeah.
Resnack is kosher. You can eat Barsena, but the boar, you've gone too far, sir.
Maybe it's that. I had it washed right over me in all the excitement of the scene. So glad you noticed it.
All right, news and notes.
All right. Well, so there doesn't seem to be a great deal of love shown between Sansa Stark and Jon Snow thus far, at least in our story.
I hope that changes.
Me too. However, for Sophie Turner and Kit Harington, the actors who played those two characters in A Game of Thrones, that's about to change. And that's because the trailer is out for the gothic horror movie The Dreadful. The movie, set during the War of the Roses, stars Turner and Harington, who play lovers. And apparently, this was as odd for the actors at first as it might be for Game of Thrones fans. I don't really do trailers, but it's out there if you care to watch it. I personally will likely wait until the film premieres on February 20th to check it out, in totality.
That's interesting, actually. You know what the War of the Roses is?
You've educated me a bit on it. Yes.
Okay, good.
It's a heavy inspiration to this, this story.
Well, I mean, I think a movie with Sophie Turner and Kit Harington in it gets a mention in news and notes. Anyway.
Yes. I meant in A Song of Ice and Fire, that story. The War of the Roses was a heavy influence in this.
Oh, I see what you're
overall
saying.
Story.
I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying you were heavily influenced for including this story by the fact that it was about the War of the Roses, and I had apparently talked about this. I get you.
No, that is the Sophie Turner and Kit Harington connection there.
Yes. So you don't do trailers. I'm sorry to fixate on a very small part of this. Have you watched the trailer to Project Hail Mary?
No, like I said, I literally don't watch trailers. And here's why. I have a reasoning. It's because, especially for comedy trailers, they give you all the good parts in the trailer. Yeah. And especially the best jokes in the trailer. And I don't like to have anything spoiled for me. So I would not be one of our spoilers and staters because I wouldn't want to know.
And ironically, you're the one who has to do all this. So hang on a second. So have you read Project Hail Mary?
Oh, yes, I have.
Oh, yeah. So you're not worried about that, the spoiler aspect of that. But if you hadn't read it, okay, I would tell you that your attitude to trailers is 100% correct. The trailer for Project Hail Mary, just think about that story. It needs to stop before the halfway point of that book, that trailer.
Yes, or else a huge reveal.
Exactly. And the trailer just marches on through it. I'm like, please, God, don't do that.
That's why I don't watch trailers.
You are 100% right. It's an enormous spoiler. I was like, when I watched it, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, you're ruining this film.
Yeah.
It's sometimes so good.
When we're trying to pick a movie, Stacy will want to watch the trailer first
to see.
And I will close my eyes, put my fingers in my ears and go la 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 until she says the trailer's over. Because if we're going to watch that movie, I don't want to just be shown 30 seconds or so of what's coming. So
I hear you.
But this isn't in here. But I did want to mention that this past weekend I was with some friends, and one of them is a big Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon fan, and she watched the first episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and she hated it.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it was what I was concerned about, that A Song of Ice and Fire fans will love A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and I worry that A Song of Ice and Fire people will not quite be sure what to make of it.
You mean Game of Thrones people?
Yes, Game of Thrones people.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see Dunk and Egg and all those people, brought to life in front of us. They don't know Dunk and Egg from Dunkin' Donuts, So, and she said it was crass beyond words. Apparently there is some potty humor that goes on. I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know. Nor have I watched the first episode. But, yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert. Tall fella, bald kid.
Yes, there you go. That's all you need to know to get started.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got an upgraded Buy Me a Coffee sustainer. Kevin has moved all the way up to the small council, currently our top tiers. Thank you very much, Kevin. And we'll talk to you more on sustainer calls if I show up.
Yes. If you show up.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. Is it too soon for jokes? I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. And yes, we very much look forward to getting to know you better.
All right, let's conclude this one. So Dany's story has finally taken off.
That it has.
And she's riding Drogo, so now she just needs 2 more heads.
You said Drogo.
Dad, Drogon, whatever his name is. She's already done that, we know. So, and now she's riding Drogon. She just needs to find 2 more heads for this triptych of dragon riders.
And maybe it turns out she's gained valuable knowledge for controlling Drogon, and she could use it to train these other 2. And can maybe Quentin possibly reestablish himself in Dany's estimation if he can ride one of these newly trained dragons?
I don't know how ambitious you've got to be told by someone, all right, what you're going to do is walk up, don't blink, look him in the eye, and then whip him with this.
Tell him to get down.
Just tell him no.
He's like, listen, Dad, I love you. I really wanted to come through for you, but I am out of here. Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Yeah. So it's chaos for everyone left on the ground. Is she absconding? Is she going to leave them all in the lurch? And if she does, what's the situation? I mean, basically, the people who live in her pyramid are in 2 very distinct camps. There's the Daenerys camp, and then there's the Hizdar camp, and they're not friendly.
This could be really bad. Well, first of all, to answer your first question, I don't know what control she has over the flight plan. So right. I think she's going to go wherever Drogon wants her to go. So
tray tables and seat backs to the full upright position.
Yes, she's along for the ride, I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. But to the second part, this would be really dangerous situation without Dany keeping the 2 sides cordial with each other. Now, it's also possibly Hizdar keeping the 2 sides, you could argue, because he's keeping the Sons of the Harpy from killing. But he's going to be the undisputed king.
Right.
And he can...
The thing about him keeping the peace between those 2 factions is his every move seems to be antagonistic towards her and her faction. And when she's not there to stop him, I don't see him moderating his behavior. I will be the king of all of you. I will be every man's king. No, I will be king for myself, because that's what I'm here for.
And yes, it's hard to imagine him saying, I will make this a free city, as Daenerys promised when she returns, if she returns. Mm-hmm. But one thing I will say is he may not have control over the Unsullied. And that's a big concern for him.
But he might have control over the Unsullied to banish them, to say, you lot, go out. I don't
maybe.
want you here anymore. And then what do? They're like, well,
Right.
we didn't get orders from her, but she's not here to countermand these orders, so do we have to obey them?
Right. Yeah, it could get very complicated and very messy.
Yeah. So up next we have a Jon chapter in which we find out whether or not the horn-blowing count was correct last time.
That's right, we will. How many horns did we hear?
Exactly. It's either 3 lots of wildlings or 2 lots of others. I don't know. There's 3 ways that you can help us. You can leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. You can buy us a cup of Arbor Gold at buymeacoffee.com/ghostharrenhall. There you can join us at the various sustainer levels. There's a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers. And you can try any of the levels for free for a week. Or you can make a donation directly to our cause at our website, ghostsofharrenhall.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, you can send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Just please keep in mind we have no means of responding, but we do enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, I suggest you check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghost Harrenhal, or on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.